Chicago deep dish or Detroit deep dish? What's your?
Oh no, Detroit deep dish by far. Chicago is like a mood. That's like an event. You know what I mean? Like you don't go on cruises all the time. I don't know how you eat that more than like once a month, maybe.
Yeah. When I say deep dish pizza, you probably think Chicago, and with good reason. But with all due respect to the Windy City's pizza pedigree, it's just not the only deep dish in the Midwest. See, there's another Midwestern city near another Great Lake that has a totally different deep dish tradition. Welcome to Detroit, where the pies are rectangular, the pans are steel, and the people, well, the people have a thing or two to say about the other deep dish.
Chicago is really what Detroit is up against.
Since World War II, the Motor City has been pumping out right-angled pies its own damn way. And in the pan, the appeal of Detroit-style deep dish is obvious. It's got the crispy caramelized edges, it's got the toppings and the cheese that then go under the red sauce, which is a little unorthodox, but stylistically about as close to pizza perfection as you can get. But what about metaphorically? Beneath the greasy surface are all the potent ingredients, the anger, the insecurity, the defiance, and most importantly, the piping hot pride that define Detroit and the 700,000 plus souls that call it home. Hey Chicago, how's that for deep? Back in the 40s, Buddy's Rendezvous on 6 Mile straight up invented what would come to be known as Detroit-style pizza. So we picked up some pies there and brought them to the east side to share slices, beers, and pizza history with some born and raised Detroiters.
My uncle used to work at the original Domino's in Ypsi. That was his first job.
Aaron Foley is the chief storyteller for the city of Detroit, a position in the mayor's office tasked with, well, telling the city's stories. He and his friend, performing artist Payne, had plenty to say about Detroit's complicated pizza legacy.
You know what? I'm pro-fucking black.
I am not gonna stop eating pizza just because a white person started it. But you know where all this like easy and cheap yet innovative food comes from? It's spun off from the auto industry. Like when you had all these factory workers who weren't making that much but still needed to take their lunch breaks. Yeah. All these different pizza makers, they figured out how to widely produce this product on a mass scale the same way like Henry Ford and all the other auto barons figured out how to mass produce a vehicle. Yeah. So even like delivery of pizza like can be traced back here. It does sort of bother Detroiters when you see like the Detroit brand outside of Detroit because we are so protective of the things that we've innovated here. Everything in Detroit has been so good. That's the whole point, is that we got some shit that's unique to Detroit that you can't replicate anywhere else. And that's what makes us proud to be Detroiters.
It's this style of pizza. It explains every ounce of aggression that apparently Detroiters have. It explains every ounce of like rudeness. This is ours. This neighborhood is ours. Our schools are ours. The crackhead down the street who fixes your tires when it blows, he is ours. This is ours.
It's safe to say they take their pizza seriously here in Motor City. And can you blame them? We drove out to 9 Mile to meet James Rigato, the chef and owner of James Beard-nominated Mabel Gray Kitchen. He cooks this kind of food, not pizza, but he's convinced Detroit's pizza past and the attitude that bred it is crucial to the city's culinary future.
Detroit was the canary in the coal mine. You know, GM goes bankrupt, and the whole nation was like, let Detroit burn. Guys and girls that stayed, you know, there's definitely like a chip on our shoulder. You know, there's grit in our teeth.
Yeah.
You know, I think Detroit as a whole, you know, we got a Rocky Balboa mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll take a few more punches to the face in order to like figure out what not to do. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not afraid to get our hands dirty. We're not afraid of anything. So my goal is to kind of like rope all the chefs together to kind of have a narrative and develop a cuisine.
Yeah.
Like we have the sliders.
Yep.
You know, we have the coney, and we have the Detroit Square Pizza. That's kind of like our holy trinity. If you want to talk about Detroit Square, Louies is the best example.
Yeah. When a chef like James says a place has good pizza, you eat that pizza. So we took a quick drive across Hazel Park, a metro Detroit suburb, to the place that serves James' favorite pie in town, Louies.
Hazel Park is dope, and Louies is like pretty much the reason why, and like I just wanted to join the party. I often say, Hazel Park was already having a party, I just rolled in with a keg.
There you go.
This is proven. You know, this is like what will never change.
Yep.
This is like the food equivalent of like the Model T.
Founded by a former Buddy's cook, Louies has been slinging Detroit deep dish for over half a century. And it turns out James was right. The pizza is outrageous.
Oh my God, this is the
best. Nykolas Sulkiwskyj is a third-generation owner. While I scarfed down his award-winning pizza, he told us about the crucial components of a Detroit-style pie. The right cheese, the right dough, and the right pan.
We have the
Cheese
dough.
is special, right?
The cheese is a special. It's not mozzarella. It is brick cheese. The cubes melt perfectly with the 650-degree ovens.
They kind of bench it a little bit in the pan. And then those ovens, the stone ovens, you know, you see how old and beautiful they are, you know? And then obviously the sauce on top prevents that like moisture barrier from weighing the dough down. So the dough gets that jump. The hot pan and the hot oven allow it to get that crispy bottom, but you still behave like a focaccia on the in-between. That's Detroit style pizza.
Yeah. So tell me about this, the blue steel pan.
Well, it actually started off as an automotive, like a drip pan. And
Like from the factories?
yeah, they started burning out the bluing in it and started cooking pizzas in it. The height is perfect for the high walls.
How many Chianti bottles do you think are on the wall here?
Oh, we stopped counting so long ago. I mean, we had a plethora of bottles up here, and
I have 7.
collapsed the
At least
walls.
7.
Chianti bottle empty, pizza devoured, we left Louies behind and headed to Hamtramck, where the city's vibrant Middle Eastern community is thriving.
We just wanted to have a pizzeria that offered halal options for our Muslim customers. We wanted to make sure that there was something that represented the core of Detroit.
So our very first one we've got is the tandoori pizza. Next on the list is the naga pizza, cilantro, red onions, and chicken. And this is the dry fish pizza. Brace yourselves.
Oh wow, yeah. Joining us is Jon Moy, writer, Renaissance man, and born and raised Detroiter who considers himself one of Amar's #1 fans.
I mean, I think like the story of Detroit, you can't really escape the story of immigration because of the auto industry. Everyone was coming here at certain points. For better or for worse, the only real entryway a lot of times is the food or service industry.
I just had a bite of that.
It's so good, right?
Oh my God, it's good.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who are good business people are just make a shrewd decision, like what will be in demand all the time, you know? And it's like pizza, you know, immigrants can sort of reshape America in their way. This way they can sort of, no, we're gonna make pizza work for us, you know, and you're gonna like it. You want your city to represent, you know, the community and not just people who have money, you know, like, could Amar's charge $28 for a pizza? There's always been this conception amongst a lot of immigrant business owners that we just can't get away with charging that, right? And so when you look at what people are willing to spend their money on, you know, hard-earned money on, there often aren't seats at the table for everyone.
This style is just as unique as seeing 5 to 6, 50 to something year old black men in pastel-ass suits and pastel-ass gaiters walking down to Greektown or walking to the gas station. That's a very unique Detroit thing. It's about this being something of the city itself.
That's a huge part of what Detroit is we've always had to hustle. We've always had to make do with less. We've always had to make a way out of no way. And that sort of mindset, that sort of mentality permeated its way into many different industries. Automotive, manufacturing, pizza.
A way out of no way. The overlooked way, the underrated way. The way that has too much pride to care. That's Detroit's way. And that's Detroit Pizza. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode of Food Groups you just watched. Yo, do me a few favors if you would. Subscribe to our YouTube channel right here. Watch this video right here. And if you still got a little time, like and comment below.